محمد وآل محمد صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل الفرج. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم. تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون. لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون. إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون. وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون. وسواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون. إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم. إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين. واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون. قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون. قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين. قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب أليم. قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون. وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون. فما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون. أأتخذ من دونه آلهة إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغني عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون. إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين. إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون. قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون. بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين. وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين. إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون. يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون. ألم يروا كم أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون. وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون. وآية لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون. وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون. سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون. وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون. والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم. والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالعرجون القديم. لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشاء نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا ونطعم من لو يشاء وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا ونطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في السور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم أن لا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مزيا ولا يرجعون ومن نعمره ننكس في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وذللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم ير الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا كل شيء أن يقول له كن فيكون وسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم اللهم صل على محمد الفاتحة بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
ہمارے دیگر باواز بلند سلوات آب رواں کا تار نفس ٹوٹتا رہا آب رواں کا تار نفس ٹوٹتا رہا دریا پہ مطمئن کوئی پیاسا کھڑا رہا چلو میں آب لپے وقار وفا رہا غربت کے باوجود بڑا فاصلہ رہا مشکیزہ بھر کے پلٹا ہے جب سے علی کا شیر مشکیزہ بھر کے پلٹا ہے جب سے علی کا شیر دریا ہی جانتا ہے کہ دریا میں کیا رہا دریا ہی جانتا ہے کہ دریا میں کیا رہا اور چلو میں لے کے آب جو پھینکا دلیر نے چلو میں لے کے آب جو پھینکا دلیر نے دریا اسی میں دیر تلک ڈوبتا رہا دریا اسی میں دیر تلک چلو میں لے کے آب جو پھینکا دلیر نے دریا اسی میں دیر تلک ڈوبتا رہا
سوز پڑھتے ہیں اللہم صلی علی محمد محمد.
ایک دفعہ اور درود پڑھتے ہیں.
حضرت عباس شاہ لاپتہ کے شیر ہے حضرت عباس شاہ لاپتہ کے شیر ہے خندقوں خیبر کے وہ یہ کربلا کے شیر ہے کیوں نہ ہو ہر جنگ میں یہ مثل حیدر فتح یاب کیوں نہ ہو ہر جنگ میں یہ فتح یہ کیوں نہ ہو ہر جنگ میں یہ مثل حیدر فتح یاب وہ خدا کے شیر یہ شیر خدا کے شیر ہے حضرت عباس شاہ
درود پڑھتے ہیں. ایک دفعہ اور
اللہم صلی علی محمد.
بغور سن لے زمانہ حسین سے تھے بغور سن لے زمانہ حسین بقا فنا کو بنایا حسین تھے بغور سن لے زمانہ بقا فنا کو بنایا حسین پیار کی باتیں کے نیچے وہ خالق سے پیار کی باتیں دل کو ہو گیا سکتا حسین سے تھے بہت مخالفت پہ زمانہ تھا اس وہی کیا جو کہا تھا حسین تھے بہت حسین سپاہ شام شجاعت کا لوہا سپاہ شام شجاعت کا کبھی نہ لاکھوں سے تنہا حسین تھے بہت کمر کو تھام کے پیری میں جلتی رہتی پر کمر کو تھام کے پیری میں جلتی رہتی پر کھایا بیٹے کا لاشا حسین سے تھے بہت سن لے زمان جوان کی لاش اٹھائی بنائے جوان کی لاش اٹھائی بنائے کہیں بھی عزم نہ بدلا حسین تھے بہت لے زمانہ شکر کے شہید ہزار شکر کے سجدے شہید بنایا قطرے کو دریا حسین بغور زمانہ حسین بقا فنا کو بنایا حسین بغور سن لے زمانہ فاتح مرسی کے تین چل مشق بھر کر سوئے خیمہ جو علمدار چلے مشق بھر کر سوئے خیمہ جو علمدار چلے روکنے کے لیے رستے میں ستمگار چلے یہ بھی ساتھ جوڑاتے ہوئے غیبار چلے تیر برساتے ہوئے لاکھوں ستمگار چلے تیر برساتے ہوئے لاکھوں ستمگار چلے اب لڑے یا علمو مشق سنبھالے باغ نے گھوڑے کیا تیر نکالے باغ نے گھوڑے کیا تیر نکالے دل میں کہتے ہیں کہ یا حیدر صفدر آجا بچی مر جائے گی مشکین کو تیروں سے بچا کبھی فرماتے ہیں شامیوں یہ لڑا سر میرا کاٹ لو پر مشق کو ناوک نہ لگا سر میرا کاٹ لو پر مشق کو ناوک نہ لگا قتل کے بعد بھی آباس کوئی دارے پر سکینہ کی مانت سے لوٹا دینا پر سکینہ کی علانت اسے پہنچا دینا یہ صدا سنتے ہی مولا نے جگر کو تھاما دو پیری نے چہے جن بشر کو ناما غشو آیا نے اکبر نے پیدر کو تھاما درد نے اٹھ کے مسافر کی کمر کو تھاما درد نے اٹھ کے مسافر کی کمر کو تھاما رو کے فرمایا آخی تم بھی مجھے چھوڑ چلے آئے بس کی کمر توڑ چلے ہائے پردیس میں بے گھر کی کمر توڑ چلے کہہ کہ یہ عشق بہاتے ہوئے دریا کو چلے راہ میں ٹھوکر کھاتے ہوئے دریا کو چلے داغ پر داغ اٹھاتے ہوئے دریا کو چلے وہ کٹے ہاتھ بھی پاتے ہوئے دریا کو چلے وہ کٹے ہاتھ بھی پاتے ہوئے دریا کو چلے ساتھ میں اکبر ناصر بھی گاتے تھے تم ہمارے چچا کہتے جاتے تھے دم بدم ہائے چچا کہہ کے تڑپ جاتے تھے، اے میرے قوت بازو میرے بابا کے نشان، ابھی زندہ ہو کے جنت میں گئے بھائی جان، ان کے یہ ہوش جو آیا تو کہا میں قربان اب ناچیز کی تسلیم امام دو جہاں، اب ناچیز کی تسلیم امام دو جہاں، نہر پہ آنے کی تکلیف جو فرمائی ہے، آپ کے ساتھ سکینہ تو نہیں آئی ہے، آپ کے ساتھ سکینہ تو نہیں آئی ہے، بول شبیر وہ ڈیوڑی پہ کھڑی روتی ہے، آپ کی یاد میں بےتاب ہے جہاں ہوتی ہے، دم بدم پیاس کی داس سوا ہوتی ہے، نہر کو ترتی ہے اور اشک سے منہ دھوتی ہے، نہر کو ترتی ہے اور اشک سے منہ دھوتی ہے، بولے عباس کے خاتم پہ ترس جائے، اپنی لاش کو خیمے میں نہ لے جائے گا، اب میری لاش کو خیمے میں نہ لے جائے گا، مشق بھر کر سوئے خیمہ جو علمدار چلے، تم آپ سے
صلی اللہ محمد وعلی محمد. محمد وعلی محمد موازی بلند صلوات.
Salawat. Today I will speak about Maula Abbas. Maula Abbas is the son of Maula Ali and al-Banin. He was the younger brother of Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein, who loved and followed Imam Hussein wholeheartedly and considered himself his slave. He was a renowned warrior, a strong man who had fought alongside Hazrat Ali even when he was only 12 years old. His courage and bravery was legendary, and enemy ranks were terrified of facing him, considering himself the same threat as his father, Ali ibn Abu Talib. Hazrat Abbas stood by the side of Imam Hussein and in all the good and bad moments of their life. And on the day Imam Hussein needed him the most, the 10th day of Muharram, in the barren land of Karbala. In the Battle of Karbala, Abbas was the flag bearer of Imam Hussein's army, and in one-on-one battles no one could have defeated Abbas. Yazid's army knew that, Hussein knew that. Hazrat Abbas wanted to fight with his brothers Usman, Jafar, and Abdullah, had already attained martyrdom. Imam Hussein was not here to wage war, he was here standing for justice, dignity, and safeguarding the principles whose foundations were laid by his grandfather, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he refused Abbas permission to fight. What difficult moments would it have been for a warrior like Abbas to see his family members and companions fight and give their life in front of him for the holy cause, and on the other hand seeing children who have been crying from thirst. Sakina, 6-year-old daughter of Imam Hussein, passive with thirst in the scorching desert heat, approached her uncle Abbas and urged on the behalf of all the children to provide water. Abbas in response approached Imam Hussein for permission, who earlier did not allow him to go to war but permitted Mullah Abbas to fetch water. Abbas came out of the camp and asked the enemy, "What sin have these children committed that you seek to kill them? How can you justify denying water to children and women?" Hearing these words, hundreds of the enemy soldiers attacked Abbas from all the sides. Abbas repelled the onslaught with the spirit and strength of Haider that ran throughout his blood. Diverting the enemy with his sword, Abbas reached the banks of the Euphrates. Abbas then raised a handful of water to show the world that he had command over the river, but did not drink any of the water. Historians state that after the children, none of them asked Abbas for water again. During Mullah Abbas's life, Imam Hussein was able to stand upright and confident, but after Abbas, Hussein lost his strength. Our deepest respect for the man who stood for principles, loyalty, and respect. The shrine of Hazrat Abbas is parallel to the shrine of Imam Hussein. I sound by saying, "We still remember you, O Abbas. You won the war and conquered the river. You raised the flag of Imam Hussein, and after conquering the river, you collect the water and then throw that water on the face of the river, letting everyone know that how can you drink water when his master Hussein is thirsty?" This shows how sincere Mullah Abbas was with Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Salawat.
MashaAllah, this was a young lad, Ali Mehdi. Please, a loud salawat for his good health, inshallah. Wow. My regular appeal, please move forward as much as possible. Inshallah, the program will continue till the 12th of Muharram. Program starts at 7:45. Tomorrow, I'll give you the details of the day of Ashura, because tomorrow being the Shab-e Ashur, I'll give you all the updates on what's the plan going to be on the day of Ashura here. Well, I think Maulana needs to start his lecture, and so please recite Surah Fatiha for all the marhumeens, for all the marhumeens from Millat Jafri. Bilkhusus, the marhumeens of tonight's sponsor, ہمارے ثاقب عابدی صاحب کے جتنے مرحومین ہیں سب کے لیے سورۃ المبارک الفاتحہ.
عظمت باب الحوائج ابو الفضل العباس علیہ السلام بآواز بلند صلوات.
اللهم صل على
عباس کے فضائل کے 4 مصرے. شیر خدا کے شیر عباس کی عظمت ہماری سمجھ سے باہر ہے. شیر خدا کے شیر عباس کی عظمت ہماری سمجھ کے باہر ہے. ارے جسے بی بی زہرا نے سلام بھیجایا تھا بی بی زینب کے ذریعے ہیں. جسے بی بی زہرا نے سلام بھیجایا تھا بی بی زینب کے ذریعے ہیں. اطاعت امام کرنا ہمیں اطاعت امام کرنا ہمیں کربلا میں عباس سکھاتے ہیں. اطاعت امام کرنا ہمیں عباس کربلا میں سکھاتے ہیں. ارے درس ہمیں یہی ہے کہ اطاعت امام زمانہ ہمیں کس طرح سے کرنا ہے. درس ہمیں یہی ہے کہ اطاعت امام زمانہ ہمیں کس طرح سے کرنا ہے. برعظمت باب الحوائج ابو الفضل علیہ السلام بلند تر صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيد الأشرف الأنبياء حبيب وحبيبنا العالمين بالقاسم المصطفى محمد. صلى الله على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين، واللعن الدائم على أعدائهم أجمعين. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله عبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر لحد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليك جميعا جميع شهداء كربلاء. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. دعاء فرج and then inshallah. اللهم كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه عرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها تبينا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل. Firstly, once again, I would like to ask for the permission of the Imam of the time and the Holy Lady Hazrat Fatima Zahra Salamullah alayha, and would like to send my condolences to the Imam of the time, the Ahlul Bayt, and those Maraji'een around the world who are at the front lines of defending this religion. Please recite aloud Salawat bar Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. The highest aim that we have from these majalis of Aba Abdullah is that so we can attain that closeness to the 12th Imam of the time. The same way that the ashab of our third Imam, Aba Abdullah, in the lands of Karbala had his close companions, we should also be having the same aim and goal when we come to these majalis. For our Imam and the Imam of our time. But not just only becoming a Sahab, but this should be one of the highest ranks that we attain from these majalis. Not just a name. Eventually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, if He does give us the tawfiq, this should be our final aim. And this is what results we should be expecting from these majalis. Yes, there should be azadari. There should be crying. There should be our hajats, which we ask from Aba Abdullah. There should be these manqabat. They are necessary too. But that highest rank that we should attain from these majalis is we become that nasir of that baqiyatullah. So that eventually one day we can be that nasir and help him. For the Imam is always in search of true companions. Isn't it in our riwayat that when the Imam, he will attain those 313 companions of his, that's when his zuhur will come into action. But the main problem that actually stops us from reaching this level is our laziness. So inshallah today, my topic will be about laziness and how the Holy Quran and the ahadith of the Ahlul Bayt, they respond to those people who have been lazy in history and for those in the future, and how it makes them far away from the Imam of their time. So in the narrations it is said that one of the armies of shaitan are of jahl, and their aim is to make people lazy. As we recite in Dua Abu Hamza Somali, which we've all recited, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-kasali wal-fashal. That, oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, safeguard me from this laziness. Safeguard me from wasting this time. As Imam Sadiq alayhi salam has a narration in which the topic is Junood, Aql and Jahal. And in this narration, he describes 70 different ways in which a human being, he has different virtues, or he has different attributes and different traits. From some of them, which are the virtues, are that a human being, he has strength, he has bravery, and these are for the section of Aql. So for the paragraph of Aql. And then 70 traits he has in which that us guys, we can't see from our eyes, but everyone has these inside, which we also know as the Raza'il, the immoralities that every person has. And some of them I'll mention, I won't mention all 70 of them, but some of them are riyah, stinginess, desires, greed, and pride. And then says that these golden traits, we attain them from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so we can get closer to Him. And the immoralities that we get in our life, they take us closer to the army of shaitan. So it's under the chapter of Junood or Aql and Jahl. If anyone wants to read it, Imam Khomeini has also written a book upon this subject. But inshallah, I'll try and elaborate this for you so it's a nice story atmosphere, as I usually do. Please recite aloud salawat. So Imam Sadiq alayhi salam states, An-nashat wa zidduhu kasal. That nishat, meaning as the same nishat we have in our Urdu language. That a person always stays active and fresh, always full of energy. He says that those who do not have these energies or these traits within them, then they are from the army of shaitan. Ayatollah Ahmadi Mianji, he was a famous Ayatollah from Qom. He said that at times we put ourselves down when we think that these things aren't guna. Some traits which we act upon, we think that they're not guna at all. And we normalize those. Where some of those we do acknowledge as guna, such as zina, accusing people, or even extortion, bribery. We accept these as guna. But there's some that we don't. We think of it as a norm. Whereas at times we bring our children up in such a manner that they become lazy. We don't think of it as a guna. In Dua Abu Hamza Somali, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam he asks refuge from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from having these traits of laziness. And how much tawfiq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do we lose during them times when we are lazy? We all know that. We've all experienced it. Or how much loss does a person have in society when he becomes lazy? So we need to get rid of this laziness of ours. Now we might be thinking the laziness is only just sleeping. But inshallah when I'll elaborate, hopefully we'll get the message that the Ma'sumin are trying to give to us. So one example is when boys and girls, when they're in the youthhood. I mean, they're really good. They come to the majalis of Aba Abdullah. They'll come during the days of Laylatul Qadr or the nights of Laylatul Qadr during the month of Ramadan. They do their amal on the 10th of Ashura. They'll probably be awake for 2 days, but doesn't pray. I'm not totally focusing it this at you, brothers and sisters, but this is the norm nowadays, which is in our countries. But he's named what? He's named what? Hussaini Bachcha hai. I mean, I know my name's Hussaini, but that's what is said nowadays. Now, some of the reasons may be in connection to that child when he's grown up, but the main reason is what? The parents. For when that child is from the age of 7 to 14, he's not given that attention. He's not taken out of that stage of laziness, which is making him weak in this world, which is making him weak on his wazaif, on his obligatories. We'll let him sleep like till whatever time he wants to. Or for example, if the shop is just 5 minutes away from the house, we won't send the child to go and get the milk. We're like, nahi, Abba ji, wapas aane do to phir doodh aayega. And the child has all the ability. Has no abnormality at all. But still what? Say, no. But just so ja. That's what we say, right? Or the child is getting so much love and he's becoming so pampered. I'm using this word pampered on purpose. That I saw once, I went to someone's house and the kid's like 8, 9 years old. And the mom's pampering him so much that she's taking his socks off him. I mean, let the kid grow, let him learn. So this child, he gets helped, and he becomes so lazy. Now I'm saying he, but this is in females and sisters as well. At times, sisters get more love by their parents. So this child, he's turned 14 now. By next year, he's going to become what? He's going to become baligh. I mean, here in this country, we become baligh earlier than that age. So all of a sudden, 14 years of his life is not used to what? Namaz-e-Fajr in the morning. As soon as it's his birthday, they're like, Sonny Jim, get up for Namaz-e-Fajr. I mean, it's not going to be easy for that child, is it? It's going to be like climbing Mount Everest. I mean, the child is a good child, but Mr. Cadbury Chocolate over here is lazy. Why? Because of his upbringing. So these are one of the main factors that how a child, he becomes lazy and then leads to other guna in his life as well. Because he was used to whatever he wanted throughout his life. And now slowly, because of whatever he wanted, maybe he wants to listen to music now. He's going to make his own choice, isn't it? Or slowly he wants to speak to some na-mahram which he likes in school or college. Like, it's not that bad. Let me just talk for a little while. I won't go to the next step. I won't meet or go and have, I don't know, a chocolate biscuit or a tea or something. But whenever we follow this heart of ours, slowly, these gunah, these sins start to increase. But from the age of 7 or below, the child, as in the ahadith, in the narrations, it is said that treat them as a king. They are your amir. Accept everything that they want to do. But after 7, no, Mr. Nice Guy. I mean, I'm not saying that, after the kid turns 7, you pull out the chappal and that's it. No tomorrow for you. But deal with the situation in a different way. Train that child so that by the age of 14, 15, that child, he is ready for namaz. He's ready for his salat. He's ready to do his obligatories. Like the month of Ramadan, for example, when children, in girls, it's much more harder. May Allah bless them. From them, it's the age of 9 when they have to start. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings them so closer to Him at a young age. And their wazaif at the age of 9. But when a child at the age of 15, all of a sudden he has to keep his fast in the month of Ramadan. You may be able to, skive that 30 days of Ramadan. Maybe probably at home saying that, oh yeah, I can keep the fast. When you're going outside, just go and have school dinners. No, it's no problem. Mom and dad are watching. But what about our salat, our namaz, our fajr, our zuhr, our asr, our maghrib, isha? Mom and dad's always still going to be there. Beta, did you read it? Then what? Acting upon these wazaif is wajib. But the main reason why that child has left them wazaif is what? Because of that age from 7 to 14 when he wasn't trained. Or at times, we try to leave out these wajib a'mal or these wajib actions which are obliged from us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, such as amal bil ma'ruf. Come up with the excuse that, it's not my problem. Let me give it a blind eye, Or we think that what reaction will that person give when we want to do this amal bil ma'ruf? There's just one example. I don't know if I should mention it or not, but please recite aloud salawat. So one day I was sitting in a restaurant, a restaurant or a takeaway. Don't usually go to restaurants, mostly like somewhere it's cheaper and halal. So I'm sitting down, I think it was London or somewhere up north. And I'm sitting down and I'm praising to my friend that, mashallah, this place over time, I just come back from Iran and I'm here for probably about a month or so. Praising to my friend, I'm saying that, mashallah, this place has really increased with a lot of Muslims. There's so much brothers with like beards and, they have the Arabic dashdasha nowadays. And so many women with hijab as well. Sisters have started doing hijab properly. So whilst we're eating our food, a sister comes in and she's wearing hijab. And she's wearing hijab and she's wearing a mini skirt at the same time. So I'm there like, astaghfirullah. And I look at my friend. Now I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, how do I do amr bil ma'ruf here? It's wajib upon me. I've just come back. That great Islamic emphasis that I have from the Hausa, powerful religion that I have just got to. I have to spread it to the whole world. So I'm just thinking in my head, I'm like, how do I say it? Don't want to get a black eye. She's taller than me as well. But then, as soon as I'm thinking this, there's a brother, he comes from outside. He has a big beard. 6 foot tall. He has a miswak in his pocket and his trousers pulled up. And he comes up to her and he says that, sister, what you are doing is haram. You either wear the scarf or you take it off and say, I am not Muslim. He says this and is gone. I said, okay, my part isn't. He could have done it better, but he saved the day. So at times we think that, is this amal bil ma'roof even necessary for us? Should we do it? What's the other person going to react by? This is also classed as laziness. Or there's those people who pick and choose their religion. And this is when a new religion by the name of secular Islam is invented. So what do we say? We say in our own personal affairs, we're really religious. But when it comes to social affairs, we have nothing to do with it at all. So we come to this conclusion that at times that politics has nothing to do with Islam as well. I mean, if politics had nothing to do with Islam, then the government of Rasulullah or the Imam of the time who is going to come, what are they coming for? Or then they say that we should just concentrate on our azadari, or topics such as the difference between Sunni and Shia. Okay? Just an example. These are the topics that are coming within our Shias nowadays, saying that connect the musibah of Imam Hussain alayhi salam to the event of Palestine. We cry for them, but we don't do no action. Now look, there's two ways of connecting the musibah of Abu Abdullah to the lands of Palestine. I want to elaborate this because some of our speakers at the moment, they try and miss the main point, or try and make people miss the main point, I would say. For example, there's one view that we look at the land of Karbala, the message of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. We see how Abu Abdullah went through these struggles, and then we connect them struggles and that message and we implement it in the time of today, and what our wazaif are because of those actions that the Imam acted upon and those struggles that he went through. So it's a dars for us, it's a lesson for us, and we implement it in today's life. And how do we act upon that lesson for those who are oppressed? This is one view of looking at the situation. Then there's another view in which you can say, may Allah bless all of those who are oppressed at the moment, whether they be in Yemen, whether they be in Palestine, whether they be in Kashmir, or anywhere around the world. And then we say, but the musibah of Imam Hussain alayhi salam was much greater than this. See, in the second view, we didn't get any lesson from the struggle that Abu Abdullah went through. And it is actually making us go away from that struggle of Abu Abdullah. Whereas in reality, it looks like, mashallah, reciting a Messiah of Imam Hussain. It's making us deviate from the originality of why Abu Abdullah went into the battlefields of Karbala. So anything that causes them difficulties, they go astray from it. They say, no, we can't go forward in that cause, but this is the cause that we will go forward with. Just the azadari part. These are also one of the signs of a person who is becoming lazy. Just like Haras ibn Salim was one of the companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Please recite salawat. And he said that he asked for astaghfar before Hazrat Hur, and he came to Abu Abdullah on the lands of Karbala. And he said to Abu Abdullah, he said that what I came because I saw that Yazid was on the wrong and you was on the right, Abu Abdullah, so I came towards you. So Abu Abdullah asks him, he says that why did you leave the camp of Yazid? He says, Abu Abdullah, 20 years ago, your father and I, we went to the battle of Siffin together and we passed these lands of Karbala. And your father, he picked up this soil, and also Shimr and this Sahabi of Imam, they were there at the time. They were all in the battle of Karbala together, as we know. He says, when we were coming back from the battle of Siffin, we were going towards Medina. And when Imam, our first Imam, he stopped here, he picked up the soil and the sands of Karbala, and he said that some will arise, he's talking about the Shuhada, some will arise from this sand without any limits, they will be going into the heavens. And we never understood what Amir al-Mu'mineen was talking about at that time. And we're thinking to ourselves, who are these shaheed that will arise from here? And he said, today, when I joined the army of Yazid, I saw that on one side there's Yazid, he can never be of them shuhada. And then on one side I saw your army with your 72 companions and your family. He says that when I saw this, I realized that Imam was on the haqq and Yazid was on the batil. So according to that riwayat, that narration that I had heard with my own ears from Amir al-Mu'mineen, I came towards you. Even though he understood the righteousness of this Imam, he comes up to the Imam and he says, please forgive me. He says, sorry, Abu Abdullah, please forgive me. So the Imam says, okay, forget all of this. Are you with us or are you not? He says to the Imam, I'm really sorry. I have children and I have family who I need to attend. See, even people like this, at that time, they tried to find easiness. It was because of their laziness that they didn't want to help the Imam of the time. So the Imam says to him that, go do one thing. If you are not to help me, go somewhere far, that for on the day of Ashura, when I raise my voice and I say, Hal min nasir yansurni, is there anyone to help me? If this voice reaches your ears, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will throw you in the pits of hell forever, and you will never be forgiven. Trying to always find easiness and laziness even stops us from acting upon the wazaif and getting close to the Imam of the time. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Holy Quran, in Surah Tawbah, He mentions the war of Tabuk. So in the war of Tabuk, it was actually the Prophet, peace be upon him, he had heard that the Roman Empire was coming to attack Medina. Because originally there was no war, but it was a construction and a planning of a war when the Prophet, peace be upon him, Rasulullah, got 30,000 people. He got them together and he said to them, every single one of you has to bring your own food, your own knives, your own swords, your own weapons, for we don't have anything. It was 700 kilometers away from Medina, in between Saudi Arabia and Sham, if I'm not mistaken. So they started to walk for 30 days. The sun was really hot. It was one of the most hardest wars that is written in Quran, even though they didn't go to war, but it was one of the hardest journeys that is even mentioned in the Holy Quran. And is given the name of Jayshul Usra, the army of difficulties. For the weather was really hot as well. So when they started to travel, there were some people that started complaining. The lazy ones again. They wanted an easy life. They either directly said to Rasulullah or they sent a message and they said, لا تنفروا في الحر. That Rasulullah, the air is hot. We don't want to go ahead. Otherwise we'll die. Some came and said that, Rasulullah, we don't have enough food. If we take the food with us, then we won't have anything to eat throughout the whole year. Some came and says, they were losers basically. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm saying losers, right? You can even say waste man. But they were losers, as the Quran mentions. Their excuse was that, Rasulullah, if we go there, the Romans will bring their beautiful women and we might get distracted by them and lose our iman. فَأْذَنْ لِي وَلَا تَفْتِنِّي. Allow us to stay behind so that we don't cause fitna within the people. All of them were coming out with excuses. But originally, they were all just becoming lazy and wanted to stay behind. They weren't in the mood to help Rasulullah out. Rasulullah asks them, he says that, مَا لَكُمْ? What's wrong with you people? Why is it that in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you ever get an opportunity, you're always stuck to the ground? And whenever it's something for the worldly affairs, you're jumping up with excitement. But for doing something qurbatan ilallah, you're stuck to the ground. Like someone who's lying down and they have super glue stuck all over them. So he says, إِذَا خَلْتُمْ إِذَا كَلْ. Please recite salawat. إِذَا كَلْتُمْ إِلَى الْأَرْضِ. Don't make excuses. You are the people that can't become part of Jayshul Arz, the army of difficulties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even for us, it's a lesson. At times we don't do our part and we make up excuses. We do our gunah, we do our sins and we make excuses for it. Just say that I'm lazy, I can't do this. Like for example, we make excuses at times just to cover up a sin, whether that's ghibat or backbiting. You ask the person and be like, bhai, ghibat nahi kar raha, haqiqat mein baat kar raha hu. Know what I mean? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless those who actually ask for forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after doing sins. So I'm just going to finish off these 4 points and then inshallah we'll go to the Masaib. In the riwayat, there's 4 things that are worse than gunah, worse than sins. The first one is al-israr. The second, al-istasqar. The third, wal-iftikhar. And the fourth, wal-istabshar. The first one is repeating that sin. If a person repeats a sin continuously, it's worse than actually doing that sin. The second is al-istiqsar, underestimating a sin. We do this a lot. Say that, for example, I've only used the F word. I mean, the whole world does much more worse than that. I only used one F word. I didn't even use it with a capital F. So Ayatollah Isfahani, when he would teach his class, he said one thing. He said that a person who doesn't count their gunah saghira, their small gunah, their small sin to be a big one, later on in life, he won't accept his gunah kabira to be a gunah saghira. So a person who doesn't accept his small sins will later on not accept his big sins to even be a small one. In a narration, it says that don't see that sin that you are doing. See in the eyes of which is your creator who is watching you and where you're doing that sin. Ayatollah Khansari in his fiqh class, I heard this from one of our teachers. He says that when the topic of zina would come, he would say that I am only going to mention this word once. And then after that, I'm going to call it a big sin. So one of the students, he says that it's just a word, it's for our dars, right? I mean, we're going to learn from you. He says, I swear to my grandfather. So when Iranians want to emphasize on something that it's really serious, they say, Bejaddam kasam. I swear upon my grandfather that this is not the case. The real case is that whenever I mention this word or this gunah, my body trembles with fear. See, at times, some people, some mu'mineen, they hear the name of gunah or these sins and their bodies tremble, whereas at times we even act those gunah or those sins and we don't tremble at all. So al-israr wal-istiqar. And the third one is wal-iftikhar. That if I have done a sin, I will be proud about it. So you get this in our colleges, schools, probably hasn't even done the sin. But just to boast about it, and bro, do you know what I done yesterday? Then so and so. Or within the sisters. And the fourth is al-istibshar, being happy about that sin. I'm not aiming at the elders, but probably person is 50, 60 years old, knows that he's done sins when he was small. He was someone who was in their youth, he was a jawan. And he says, Wah bhai wah, kya zamana tha. Know what I mean? I mean, he's asking for astaghfar now, but he looks back and he says that, whoa, what a time I had of my life. And the fifth one is tawjih of that gunah. That when they want to do ghibah of someone, they make excuses with it. In the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قَالَ بَلْ سَوَلَتْ لَكُمْ أَنفُسَكُمْ أَمْرًا. Someone who repents a gunah as a beautiful thing doesn't ask for the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's three different people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, characters that Allah took out from the heavens. Hazrat Adam, Hazrat Hawa, and the third one is Shaitan. The two, they don't astaghfar of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The third one, he made excuses. And he said, it comes as in the ayah of the Quran, قَالَ رَبَّ بِمَا أَغْوَيْتَنِي لَا أُزَيِّنَنَّ لَهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَا أُغْوِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have put me in the wrong, I will prove this world which is full of sins and show it as something beautiful to your people and make them go astray. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from gunai saghira and kabira. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bihaqqi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad make us true followers of the Imam of the time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us become true soldiers of the Imam of the time. بحق Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad, protect all of those oppressed around the world and especially those in Palestine and Yemen. Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad sallallahu. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله. Please repeat after. صلى الله عليك يا أبا. When Abul Fadl al-Abbas came in to ask the Imam for permission, the Imam responds, "Oh Abbas, if you go, then my army will collapse." But there was no army at that point. Everyone had become shaheed in the lands of Karbala. There was only Ali Ashra and the women and children. Some say that by staying the army, the Imam meant the sense of stability. When Abul Fadl would stand to guard the tents of the women and children, there was a sense of peace, a sense of guardianship. Neither would the enemies attempt to attack the women and children. Rather would they attempt to burn the tents of Abu Abdullah. Whenever Sayyid al-Shuhada needed to go to the battlefield, if one of his companions fell, he was content about the women and children because he knew Abbas is there to guard them. So when he says, "Oh Abbas, if you go, then my army shall collapse," he means this is the sense of stability and it will no longer be there. And therefore when the Imam says, "In kasara zahri," that my backbone has broken, this is what he means, that my support is over. Zainab only called out was Zayatah. When Abul Fazl al-Abbas became shaheed, he gave every single part of his existence for his Imam. Drinking the water wasn't haram. He had every right to drink the water. He's dying of thirst, but he shows loyalty. Another point is that when they cut the right hand of Abbas, the pain doesn't prevent him from his mission. When they cut his left arm, he's still going forward. When does Abbas stop? When does Abbas stop, brothers and sisters? It is when the water spills. It is when the water falls to the ground. Abul Fazl al-Abbas sees this because the water is important. And the words of the Imam, oh Abbas, bring the water for the children. Another point is that for someone who has such physical strength, it's hard to maintain when you see your nephews, your nieces dying of thirst. As your Imam tells you, you can't go. It's very hard. When you hear them all crying, Al-Ataj, Al-Ataj, Al-Ataj. So he comes to Sayyid al-Shuhada and he says, Sayyidi wa Mawlai, laqad zaqa sadri. My chest has become heavy. I can't take it anymore. My master, you have to let me go. On the day of Ashura, the Imam said to Abbas a few times, maybe my life sacrificed for you. When he came to Abba Abdullah, he asked for permission. The Imam says, may my life be sacrificed for you. Go and get water for the children. Abbas goes into the tent and collects the water bags, and he sees that the children are pressing themselves against the ground. The bags are stuck to their stomachs so they can cool down. See, Abbas is honorable. When he sees this, he lifts the water bags and heads for the river Furat. Dear brothers and sisters, we're talking about hope the last few nights. There's something that the children of Bani Hashim were hopeful for. It was the day of Ashura. When Abbas lifted the water bags and headed towards the river Furat, the children were hopeful. They knew that our Uncle Abbas has gone to get water for us. He will definitely return. Because when it comes to Uncle Abbas, wherever he goes, he completes his mission. They lift their small hands towards the sky and pray, oh Allah, keep Uncle Abbas safe and bring him back to us. Abbas was hopeful that he'd return. It says 4,000 men surrounded Abbas. And he addressed them, what kind of religion do you follow? Which doesn't allow women and children to drink water, while dogs and swines are allowed to drink water from the river. Somehow he reaches to the river Furat, places his hands in the river, and is about to drink the water. He looks at the water. فَذَكَرُوا وَتَشَ الْحُسَيْنِ. He remembers the thirst of Hussain and the children of Hussain. He spills the water bag and fills the water bag. All the enemies are encircling Abbas. He gets on his horse and heads towards the camp. He starts to recite poetry. He starts to recite fadail. The Imam hears the voice of Abbas. He becomes content. The women and children hear the voice of Abbas. They become glad that Abbas is returning back to the tent. 4,000 enemies are trying to stop Abbas. He prays, Ilahi awsilni children, listen closely. All of the sudden, the tone of Abbas is beginning to change. والله كدعت يميني إني أعاني أبدا عن ديني. I swear by Allah, even if you cut my right arm off, I will forever defend my religion and my Mawla Hussain. He gets closer to the camps of Abu Abdullah. His voice is changing even more. يا نفس لا تخشي من الكفر. Oh nafs, don't be afraid of the enemy. And now they cut off the left arm of Abbas. And the tone of Abbas has completely changed. He calls out, Akhi, Akhak, Adrik Akhak. Oh, come and help me, my brother. They say when the Imam heard the lion of Bani Hashim, they say this is the color of his face, the color of face, the color of the face of Hussain has changed. Ya Abal Farah, Ya sallallahu alayka ya Abu Abdullah, sallallahu alayka ya Ashra, ala la'natullahi ala qawm al-zalimin, wa sayalamu alladhina yanqalibun ma Hussain.
जाइए खैमे में ये मशको अलम मौला ले आइए खैमे में ये मशको अलम मौला दरिया में हुए मेरे शान भी कलम मौला ले जाइए खैमे में ये मशको अलम मौला दरिया में हुए मेरे शान भी कलम मौला है वक्त मेरा आखिर जल्द आइए या आका है वक्त मेरा आखिर जल्द आइए या आका देख लूं आँखों से हज़रत के कदम मौला ले जाइए खैमे में ये मशको अलम मौला दरिया में हुए मेरे शान भी कलम मौला मैं चुभ सकीना से किस्मत ने किया मुझको मैं चुभ सकी قسمت نے کیا مجھ کو پیاسی رہی شہزادی اور مر گئے مولا لے جائیے خیمے میں یہ مشق و ادب مولا دریا پہ ہوئے میرے شان مولا کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے کاش عباس نہ مارے اس طرح لگتی ناک بڑھتی کلیجے میں سنا اس طرح ہوتی نہ سادات کے خیموں میں فقاں یوں نہ زینب کے سہارے جاتے یوں نہ زینب کے سہارے جاتے کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے دونوں بازو وہ شہنشاہ وفا کے تھامے لاش عباس پہ شبیر بکا کرتے تھے بھائی تم بعد ہمارے جاتے بھائی تم بعد ہمارے جاتے کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے ہوتے عباس دلاور تو نہ خیمے جلتے شام غربت نہ سکینہ کو تماچے لگتے گوشوارے نہ اتارے جاتے گوشوارے نہ اتارے جاتے کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے
إن الله